Hi there, welcome to this week's Soul Guidance reading from the 11th of August to the 18th of August. I have, as always, I like to mix it up a bit, so I have got a slightly different spread on the table already. I've opened 14 cards, 7 from each deck, using the Voyager card, which looks like that. Okay, and I tend to put all the description of the cards down in the description box. Certainly the title and who they are by, and where you can get them from Amazon if it interests you. And I'm also using Colette Baron Reid's, actually not Colette Baron Reid's, it's Sandra Ann Taylor deck of the Energy deck. So we're using the Energy deck today. Okay, so I'm also going to start with doing a shuffle of the Surrender deck, and we're going to see what soul guidance you need regarding surrendering. I'm going to choose 3 cards, okay, to open up the essence of this week's reading. They have been pre-shuffled, but I'll just give it another quick shuffle and see what pops out. Otherwise I'll just choose 3. Well, 4 sort of wanted to come out, so that's fine. Alright, the first card that came out, which I think is really quite apt looking at the spread already, is Surrender to Effortlessness. Okay, so it's really quite important that we surrender to not having to push, not having to overdo, and it says stop pushing so hard. The art of living means going with the flow instead of trying to force the river. Okay, now we've been so indoctrinated to do, you know, which completely go against the grain of life, really. It's more about we're moving into a different time frame, a different paradigm of surrendering, letting the kind of the feminine aspect of ourselves to kind of really start taking some order in life. And that is to allow things to come, to allow things to emerge. And this, I think, is a really good message for the week, and any message really. This is some of this, like I said, it's beyond and timeless. So take some nuggets or whatever you might learn from these spreads out into your actual reality, into your world on a day-to-day basis. So we've got surrender to effortlessness. Okay, interestingly, my message as well was to say have transparency, stop hiding, and show your true colors and healing, which I'll talk about. For some reason they come in chunks of 4 now. Alright, so I kind of feel as well, this sort of have transparency. I was contemplating on that, and I feel like this is kind of to allow yourself to show up, you know, to be kind of more, to show who you really are. You know, I think there's some kind of, maybe, you know, sometimes when we try too hard, it's like we put a shield, you know, we try to be something that we're not, we try to do things that's not our calling, we try to sort of match up to other people that in the same field, or with the friends. You know, some friends might have certain things of certain way, places to go out or do things in a certain way or hang out in a certain place, and then you are constantly trying to sort of fit in with other people, which is a sense of trying too hard. Okay, so whatever it is, I just feel now is the time, particularly this week on and the energy post the Aquarius full moon and everything that's happening, we're really allowing and having to see ourselves in a different way. And one of it is to show up as you really are, but also to stop trying so hard and doubting the universe or not trusting. Okay, in the second card here we've got for the overall theme is surrender your fear of change. Alright, do comment below if you prefer to see these cards at the end. I'm just kind of mixing it up because I quite like to do things like that. But anyhow, this is a card of change for sure. We have got the Tower card here on the table as well, and definitely there is some new recreations that are happening for a few of you, and even an opportunity which was very similar to last week's reading in some places, in some cases. And like I said, time is not linear, it's fluid, and you know, it's going to be slightly different for everybody, and depending on when you see this video. I've started titling my videos as Timeless and Beyond, so hopefully some people will have the sense to or be not so much the sense but the curiosity to maybe look at these readings at a time when they do. Okay, but we are going into new territory. Generally, a lot of people are, the collective are being asked to shift. We all know that. but somehow it says here, the universe is reminding you that you are cared for always. Whether you're afraid of change in your job, your health, or your relationship, if you fear aging or death, repeat the affirmation, I have faith that all is well. Okay, so this is the card for that. Interestingly, last week we definitely had the card of rebirth and change as well, which was the death card. So I did sort of state then that, you know, we might be needing to let go of some certain things, certain ways of being. I feel like some kind of friendships need to go, whatever it is. Notice that we've been on a different spiral level of growth, and sometimes in order for us to really honor that, we need to let go and make changes, whether it be through a job, friendships, to do with our health, maybe things that we're, you know, how we eat, what we do, you know, socially and what have you. So be aware of definitely it is a time to let go of the fear of change. Okay, so we've got effortless and change. Now I got 2 cards that popped out as my third lot, so I'm going to take both of them. As you know, I'm a huge advocate for going out in nature. So again, a very important time to be going out in nature and really tuning in to yourself and really engaging in the beauty of nature as well. Okay, so take a relaxing break and spend time in nature. Replenish yourself by feeling the beauty and ecstasy there. Okay, so the healing that you might need, or you can actually get access maybe, is by going out to nature. You know, I find personally nature very healing. Hugging the trees or leaning against the trees as well, you know, very, very healing. And often when I need to let go of something or some thoughts, I tend to walk it off, imagine Mother Earth taking all my problems or my fears or concerns and allowing her to receive it and being nurtured instead by her nurturing love and grace through the beauty and through being out in nature. Now the other one is to surrender to joy. So there could be some great news. I feel for some of you, we have the Ace of Crystals here, which is also definitely a card of brilliance, good news, opportunities that could be coming out of nowhere and start springing out. So this could be a joyous time for some of you as well. So do watch out for some possible great news or anything to a positive change. Okay, you might have achieved something that you set yourself out to do, and you're now reaping the rewards and feeling joyful about what you have started to do or had seen the results of what you've been doing. Okay, so a key to positive change in your life is to let joy in and savor it. Indulge in the random acts of smiling during both the hard and the easy times, surrendering more to joy. Okay, so that kind of brings me into the reading, which is here, which is one of the cards that we've got right in the center of the read, which is about real balance. Okay, this is definitely the yin and yang, allowing both the dark and light to be part of our wholeness. We can only really actually experience joy when we start really coming from this state of being. Okay, it's only when we actually think that certain things have to go our way, or certain people have to behave in a certain way, or anything like that, that we will find ourselves out of joy. So it's really important to start really thinking about merging your masculine and your feminine, and bringing your inner and outer, and certainly all the opposites. Okay, if there's sadness, there's going to be joy. If there's anger, there's going to be happiness, you know, or you know, love. Okay, so again, they both count. People who tend to sort of not allow people to be, you know, one or the other, are actually really missing out on human nature, which is our human evolution and human beingness. Okay, it is really important that we sort of state that to ourselves and come back to our core and actually really allow ourselves to show up in the way that we really need to. Some of you might find that you need to do some healing around your solar plexus to, in fact, you also engage in that strength of yourself, and get your self-esteem in place if you're feeling slightly out of balance, particularly if we're actually not showing up as who we really need to be and are hiding. Okay, if you're one of those individuals as well that you know absolutely deep down in your core that you actually need to start showing up and knowing what it is that you want to do and how you want to go about it, to stop hiding and start actually engaging in doing so. At the opening deck, we've got 2 cards very similar. We've got the Thinking Woman and we've got the Man of Crystals, which is the Inventor. So I do feel that in some way we're coming into this new week with lots of possible ideas, new opportunities, and actually having to plan things out. Okay, here what I'm just going to take the read from the card is there are some new ideas that are definitely blossoming, and it's something to be considering it. Okay, in some way there might be some new research that you have to do, or some new courses you need to do, new lessons you might find that you need to engage in. Okay, I feel like in some way as well, some of you are signing contracts or getting certain deals in your hand, which will actually follow up quite nicely from last week's reading, because there was some kind of opportunity in trusting the original source, divine source, to actually give you, because I felt that it was last week was very much about, I think I remember saying the kind of the golden hand, the Midas touch. So some of you definitely would have gotten some new opportunities coming way, or you know that you're onto something great. Now this week is more about getting down to the nitty gritty of it, if you like, and possibly even actually putting some ideas down and researching. Okay, very much either reading books or getting ideas from books or words somewhere along. It could be the internet, of course, since now people tend to access a lot more from the internet rather than books, but definitely the spoken word, as in the written word, sorry, is very important at this point. Some of you might be engaging some courses, finishing off some courses, or going into courses, but whatever it is actually going to help you sort of blossom or actually transform. So it's giving you an addition. Okay, so this is something you're adding to what you already have. Okay, and it is going to actually elevate your status in some capacity, or elevate your sense of self. All right, beneath that card we have the card of what's called the Inventor from the Voyager card. And here I see, and I think we got this, did we get this last week? No, it could have been the week before. Yeah, because it looks very familiar, and I'm sure it's absolutely from last week, the week before. Again, very similarly, this is a bit similar, that there are books here as well. So I feel that researching definitely is playing a key part, and getting clarity. So there's some information that you need to ground and actually act on in order for you to do what you need to do. So for those who this applies to, okay, it could also be some kind of learning that you're experiencing now as well, and having to reinvent yourself in the sense about behave differently. So some of you might have done some healing or going through some transformation, and are learning to actually start applying yourself and grounding some of the ideas in terms of what you need to do and need to change, and possibly even work with your root chakra. Okay, very important to maintain some flexibility at the moment, particularly if your grounding is feeling slightly shaken, which also kind of makes me feel about this card, which is about getting the balance right. Okay, so your root chakra, I feel for some of you, very important to maintain some flexibility, especially if you're feeling ungrounded, or you don't know whether you're coming or going. You've got quite a few options that you know that you want to pursue. You might have several options on the table, or you might find an option has arisen and you don't really know if it's going to be, how long standing it's going to be, or where it might take you. But remain flexible, because we do interestingly have here actually the Tower card. Now, as we know, the Tower card tends to be something completely out of the blue happening. Okay, so this could well be the situation for some of you, that an opportunity either will come out the jolt out of the blue, or it could be, I feel, that in some way something is coming to you out of the blue, some news, and something you actually need to hear. Okay, so I do feel that somehow this is some communication you can actually been waiting for, and there's going to be some news that is going to be coming your way. It could be a communication that has been long-standing for some, and you have been waiting to hear about something. This will bring you clarity as well, and more of an understanding, or certainly you're going to be able to see things a lot clearer. Yeah, and potentially also start allowing for something to flourish. So whatever you felt that has gone down under, or is sinking, if you like, is now beginning to possibly have the opportunity to flourish. It could be something that you thought had gone, or something wasn't going to happen, but it may actually rise up out of nowhere and come your way, which is really quite interesting as well. So this is all the essence of the week. Okay, the week, again, for some of you this could be at the beginning of the week, some of this could be later in the week, some of you might find that by going back to listen to this at another time. I tend to repost every time I post up a new weekly. I do have the icon that comes up, and sometimes the image at the end of the video as well, of the previous reading that you might want to go back to, because there are times maybe that previous reading has more of a connection with you in the actual week of the new one. So again, it really is entirely up to you to be intuitive. Okay, if you're looking at something and feeling the nudge towards something, do go towards it, because you are being directed. Okay, and again, interestingly, speaking of direction, I think this communication that could be coming for some could to do with a relationship connection, and it's asking you as well to have compassion while you're actually possibly on the receiving end of the communication. Okay, it's really important that whatever it is, it could be a feedback from somebody, it could be yeah, I feel that's definitely to do with communication. Okay, so communication is definitely coming away, and I feel like in some way, remain grounded, remain humble, and remain coming from your heart with an open-heartedness. It's very important. Okay, some of you might feel somewhat uncomfortable maybe with some of the communication coming up, but make sure that your boundaries are clear if it is actually coming from a negative place. Okay, yeah, I feel that only because there's a hand, and I don't know if you can see it there, a red hand, and that planet there, red, which could be also indicate very Mars. I know that we're also still very much in the Mars energy, so some of it, you know, you've got to be really, really mindful about how we communicate and how things are communicated. Things can get quite heated, so again, be really mindful of that. And I feel that for some of you, that could be possibly the case. The other thing is, in some way as well, that you might want to actually make things rest, if you like. So, you know, the sun is going down in some way, in this way. So again, letting things go down in what am I trying to, you know, letting the natural course of whatever needs to sort of be buried to go down. Okay, so, you know, and then with that, for some reason, I kind of feel that there's a cycle. Again, yin and yang cycle, so everything is constantly rotating, constantly a cycle. Now, while that ball, this for some reason is a really key card for me for this reading. Okay, and interesting, I'll keep on coming back to it. But if you notice, there's this sort of two-sided situation: the yin on, you know, and the yang. All right, and there's a curved spiral line going through, and that's how we also spiral in life. Our growth is always like spiral-like. Okay, there's never a linear growth, although it might seem like that. We're always somewhat spiraling. Okay, and that's the kind of the energy field, and the DNA and all that kind of stuff is a spiral action. Okay, so in some way, things are now, I feel, need to be balanced in order for things to be let go of and changed. Okay, in some way, the power is with you to allow that change to happen. So again, if you are in communication with somebody and that communication is not going very well, it is really up to you to hold your own and to stay in that sort of sense of tranquility and peacefulness. Okay, and just in doing that, you might find that you actually transform the situation as well. So somebody can come actually from a very noisy part of themselves, still maybe possibly blaming and not taking full accountability or responsibility, but there is no need for you to actually feel threatened by it. Okay, it is up to you to hold that love of compassion in your heart and hold that space. Okay, moving on again as well, I feel like, you know, I think it says to show your true colors. I have a picture here of, I think some of you are definitely going to get some options and some possibilities, and it could be possibilities that you hadn't really considered. All right, now there are three cards here that really kind of indicate that. Firstly, on the first layer, I had the energy card of possibilities with all these different doorways. Okay, now it is up to you to sort of check maybe what is through each of these doors and go and see what is actually there and whether it's up to you to take it or not. All right, but there are some doors that are going to be closing and some doors opening, and that might actually be just happening by itself through the tower action. So again, by default or just by life presenting itself. And in other cases, there are doors just literally opening, as if there's going to be one door closing and some others opening. So to trust that. Okay, wherever you're led, I feel that it's because you're actually ready, that you have all the tools that you need. All right, you definitely have everything that you need. All right, be it, you know, the resources, Okay, you might feel that you don't have enough resources, but you've got to trust that you have the resources to actually make something happen, actually to start actually putting your work out in the world, and it is very much time now to do so. Okay, I've got this card here which is indicating to me what I've just said, all right, which also it is up to you to start showing your true colors, right? And whatever is holding you back, if there is anything that's holding you back, I do feel there's some healing still to do, okay, to do with your self-esteem and your power and how you actually want to show up in the world. So these are for those who are still doubting themselves. Do go and do some practice or solar plexus work through any of the YouTube vlogs. I might actually have something to do that will be helpful. If you look in my chakra meditation playlist, there are plenty now of chakra meditations, and they're anything to do with how you relate to yourself in your power, and particularly also how you relate to the outer world in your relationships, be it your boss or anybody else. So there will be something around that, but by all means just go and find somewhere out there from another source if that is what is speaking to you. Okay, you can do the healing through sound, vibrational sound healing, just actually sit through the sound, or the ones I do tend to do both the sound that you do, the vocal sound yourself, and do some suggestive programming or affirmations related to your power as well. Okay, so do look at that. I'm not going to spend too much time sort of going into the sound or anything right now on these vlogs. So coming back to you being the master of your own creativity, I definitely feel that you're going to be getting a message actually. So you're going to get, some of you are going to get some great inspiration as to know how to start weaving your talents together, okay, and making a statement and beginning to actually start creating a new, it's almost sort of creating a new component or bringing everything together. But this is going to take you out and for a longer haul. All right, so some of you might be downloading that message now or getting an impression of it, or be as clear as indicated by one door closing and another one opening. Okay, it could be messages from other people, through speaking to other people, that could be coming through. But make sure when it is actually speaking to other people that you are able to own it and not be influenced by something that somebody has suggested and it is actually true to you. Okay, it is really, really important, I feel, that and very easy as well to sometimes take somebody other's words as the authority of your own life rather than being your own authority. Okay, especially when it's people that you respect or have sort of feel aspire to. It doesn't mean to say that they actually know what is best for you. Only you know what is best for you. And I feel like in some way that this is also a testing ground in some way for some of you to start really weaving your true colors and showing your true colors. Okay, and coming back to the essence of healing, if there's anything that if in the past, if you've been held back maybe by some family coding or belief system that you've imprinted yourself about not being good enough or not being able to have what you want, or a change or a career that you felt that you had to do for whatever reason, this is now the time for you to start really healing that part of you and start trusting that you have something of your own to bring together. Okay, this bringing together, I feel, also is very much related to your heart chakra as well. So it could be a sense of self-love that's really kicked in for some of you for doing the work, as well as actually also on a creative level. It will be very much a heartfelt, heart meaning thing that's going to actually really speak to you from your essence and your heart, and it's going to bring lots of I won't say riches, it doesn't mean to say a financial riches, although it could actually very be the case, because this is the Eight of Crystals. Okay, the camera quit on me, and it tends to do that, and I really need to find that out. So I don't know where we got to, but I think it was to do with about change and about the growth and sort of releasing our new fragrance, I was saying, and getting the kind of clarity around the changes we need to make and releasing the burdens that we've maybe experienced from the past. So very important, I feel that there could be a huge shift for some people to do with the people you hang out with, and again, friends. We are sort of, like I said, going through the moon in Aquarius. Aquarians are all about new dimensions, if you like, or also particularly about socializing and being in communities. So if you feel like you've not been in the right community or in the right tribe, this will be definitely calling you to release whoever you need to release in order to move towards those who actually can meet you and see your beauty and honor your beauty. Actually, I can't, the word, I think honor is just really kicked in for me. So that is really important. Okay, those who don't reciprocate, they're not able to reciprocate, or just really slow in reciprocating, really you need to get rid of them. Okay, we don't have the time or the mental space or the emotional space or the energetic space for that kind of people anymore. All right, again, this fear of to change is that our energy system is shifting all the time. Okay, our lives have become more demanding in so many ways, which means we've got to become much more ruthless in who in how we and who we have in our life. So kind of getting rid of the energy leaks. Okay, I feel that in some way, I was talking about communication earlier on, that there is definitely some communication coming in from somebody, or some action coming in from towards you. For one or two of you, or some of you, it could be that you might need to be taking that action to move forward and taking an active step. Okay, I think some of you as well are going to have a real massive download of clarity, like oh my God, kind of thing, which is really fantastic. Where you're going to able to start recognizing, maybe bringing all your skills, like I said earlier on, but recognizing some kind of brilliance. Okay, it could either be some brilliant news coming your way, brilliant communication, or you're actually becoming aware of bringing your brilliance out. Okay, that's really important. Now, be mindful of some people who can actually be possibly envious as well. I've got the card of envy here, and that's at the top layer of the deck. So I'm wondering as well that be mindful to let go if any one of you is surrounded by anybody who can be quite envious, who's dark, or who's very kind of sneaky, or maybe don't even want you to sort of excel in whatever you are doing. Really be paying attention to those who are actually wanting to hinder your progress or put your progress down. Yeah, and the other thing I feel with this card is, because it's such a dark and light card, I feel like in some ways there is still some transformational work that is happening for some of you, and some of you I really feel you're actually moving from a place of what was dark into the light, like to a new passage. Okay, maybe releasing the old patterns and the beliefs and all the kind of statements and the anything that you've actually held on to. You're moving to the brightness. Okay, so this necessarily does not have to mean particularly envious, but just to be mindful that if you are sensing somebody to be quite envious, or speak to you in such a way, or with a tone, or maybe not even show up for you, maybe because they may be quite envious about you and you don't even know why, I would not even get engaged there. Okay, the overall the card that capped the energy is patience. So despite the fact there's quite a lot of dynamic energy, I feel that, again, for some of you, be patient with yourself as well. Just trust that you are where you are. Work on your solar plexus, because I really kind of feel that that is part of the self-honoring. Okay, and if you're not be able to start acting on something, just allow yourself to be patient, because the more you actually allow yourself to be where you're at, okay, so again, stop trying to be pushing, all right, by being where you are, trusting that the movement or the right action comes through the impulse of you, okay, not the having to do. All right, take the having to do out of your life and your daily activities. When you start living from this place of effortlessness, everything that you need to get done will get done without any effort, and the action will come from the soul and from the impulse of yourself. Okay, it does take some undoing this way, because we've also been, like I said, structured, indoctrinated to have to do this, to have to do that, to work like clockwork, and it's of course stems from being at school and everything else, and the rest of the work environment actually educates a lot of people to be that way. You have to arrive at work at a certain time, you take your lunch break at a certain time, you have to do this at a certain time. And yes, we do live in a timetabled life. Okay, we can't escape that, but the very important thing is that when you start actually, for me, what I'm getting is the message is that when you start working to your own timing, okay, to your own clockwork, you will find that you'll actually be able to kind of stoke the fire of your inner action in a way that serves the right timing, and knowing when to go for something and when not to go for something, okay, which sort of brings me to that kind of door image about when to open a situation up, when to go through something, and when to leave something as well. This all comes from an inner sense of self, okay, trust, and you hold the power in your hands that way as well, okay. For some of you, those who are not living that way already, just trust and be patient with yourself, but you need to start doing so, okay. You need to start engaging, start with actually not putting the alarm on, trust that you'll get up when you're meant to get up, and you will get up, all right. You might want to do that initially at the weekend, so if you're actually somebody who goes to work every day, you don't want to risk it, but trust me, your body knows when to wake you up. You all have to even just affirm that I need to get up at a certain time, say whatever time, 6:30 in the morning. You'll be amazed that you can get woken up, possibly by an angel or whatever, but I very rarely ever put the alarm on, don't even have the mobile phone as a clock, or any clock, in fact, by my bed. And if I need to get somewhere or wake up really early for a particular time, that's what I do, okay. Or even if I'm having a nap, in the afternoon, and I know that I need to get up to do certain things after, a short nap, I just literally put a time in my mind, and my body will just naturally wake up around that time. It is very rare that I've slept through. I have done that, but often if I have done that, when it has happened that way, it's because I've known, again, that I've not had to have anything particularly a time pinned to it, so it meant that my body was able to actually just respond naturally and slept because it needed to sleep. So again, it's about tuning in and listening to yourself. So what else can I tell you? So like I said, I do feel there is some really good news to do for some of you as well, because we've got at the bottom of the deck on the energy oracle, I have also the Sun card. I do feel in some way that this could also be to do with the communication you're getting, and you're going to get some clarity or some expanded news, okay. For some, it could be an opportunity that's going to expand your life and bring a lot more joy in it, as well as also maybe even some financial abundance is not the right word, but a financial gain, okay. So again, for some of you, it could be definitely that, where you're also able to put your skills, and when you are reaping the rewards or starting getting some regular income that totally honors and values what you actually do, all right. And so some of you as well actually might get a bit more inquiry, or you find that your work is attracting some attention. Okay, so I'm going to be moving on from the tarot spread, unless I need to sort of relate to it on the way back from the other cards now, which I'm going to open. Okay, I am going to go back to the chakra deck, which I really like, and I'll be choosing one card from the chakra deck, maybe a chakra that you can focus on for the week with the affirmation. Okay, so we'll ask the chakra, what is the best chakra for this week's soul guidance, what will be most supportive, empowering, or healing. Okay, whatever chakra needs to be focused on. Okay, here we are. Okay, it is again the Earth Star chakra, all right, but this is very much about nurturing, coming back to yourself and nurturing yourself, okay. Really important, and I think that's a really nice key chakra to be working with, because this is also, when you start nurturing yourself, you have an instinct for what needs to happen, okay. It's only when we start nurturing ourselves that we have a sense of when to move forward, when to, by being kind, by being thoughtful, by being sort of standing by you, when you start standing by yours to you, so being your own protector, being your own provider, being your own lover in some way, and getting the nurturing from also very much from Earth Mother, okay. That will also give you the strength and the courage to be effortless in your life, because of course when you start nurturing your real key needs, okay, and it could be also some kind of food stuff you might want to eat and stuff. If you start really nurturing yourself, you'll have a natural instinct for joy, for effortlessness, You're much more possibly able to handle change as well, because you're actually trusting yourself, because you have the courage to ride out whatever needs to happen and whatever change you might be confronted with. But I'm going to have a quick look at seeing, let me show you that card. Okay, so this is a nurturing card. Okay, and there's an earth star chakra, which is the chakra that is beneath our root chakra and beneath the earth by about 8 inches. Okay, so we had a nurturing rebirth card last week, and we also have, so this is very much about staying rooted and grounded. Okay, we're still very much in that energy, so it's all about deep connection to Mother Earth, about nurturing, about grounding, like I said. Okay, rejuvenation and stability. Okay, holding your balance as well, keeping, like I said, I said earlier on about keeping flexible in your root chakra, because it's really important that I feel at the moment we need to really remain flexible, and I can't help but feel like we're on some kind of surfboard. We might be moving forward, but at the same time need to really hold our balance and remain steady. Okay, so let me click that one. So for this week's empowering affirmation, if you like to do with nurturing, it says here, I am nurturing myself in all aspects of life, and I'm open to receive this powerful, loving energy, new and always. Okay, I'll repeat that. I am nurturing, and you see that going across the screen now. I am nurturing myself in all aspects of life, and I am open to receive the powerful, loving energy of now and always. Okay, so it says here as well, it's really important yourself to honor yourself with this light. Okay, so that you can see there's a lot of solar plexus light there as well. Okay, so, by empowering yourself, by actually really bringing your power and the love into the core self, you're able to nurture yourself and recognize that you are worthy of being taken care of and nurturing yourselves. Okay, so of course you can do this through like having a nice relaxing bath, going for a massage, spending time with quality friends and loved ones. Okay, be mindful about who you hang with. This is not what it says there, but I'm just telling you that. Okay, and whatever else, be around people who nurture you. Like I said, earlier on as well, about walking away from people. There's been some growth. Stop going towards people. Okay, stop hiding as well. Like stop hiding, because when we go towards people who don't really value us, we're hiding our true selves. It's when we start locating and really going towards people who value us, who nurture us, that's when you can really be yourself, right? Because you're not having to hide, because people who are not really there for you make you feel that you're not worthy of your time or your attention or your beauty or your friendship. Okay, and then you have to show up, differently to how you would. So the essence is really trust. By nurturing yourself, you're going to really get that nailed. So very much a message for that. I brought another deck out today, which I really kind of fancy. And this is actually a Doreen Virtue deck, one of her much older decks, called Healing with the Fairies. I'm not into, not into fairies. I don't mind fairies. I sometimes imagine that there's some fairies or see fairies, or the idea of seeing a fairy. In fact, I'm sure I saw one last week, or so I thought. But anyway, these cards are actually lovely. And let's just quickly see what possible card can help with the healing. Okay, we did get the word healing as the guide message, and as these are the healing with the fairies. Let's have a look what the message could be. Little fairies. Okay, wow, that's interesting as well. Okay, so this is nice. I love this card personally, and it didn't jump out, but it stuck to my finger, so I've kind of slid it out. But stand your ground. Okay, so some of you actually might be in a situation where, again, if you're getting people telling you what action to take, or wanting to guide you, or tell you that this is how you need to do what's next, or you might feel that you're being wavered towards another action, or whatever it is, or you're wanting to move away from a relationship that it's had its day, or a friendship that you're thinking about, not really quite, it's not really working out, and she's let me down a few times, and she's not even bothering to return my calls, or whatever it is for you. Okay, it is time for you to stand your ground. Okay, so trust yourself. Okay, I love this card because this one really just implicates, you know, she's quite stern in her looking, but serious, but the sense of actually she knows her value. Okay, this fairy has a really look about that. Okay, and she's not going to compromise on that. And this is a really good, you know, this card, I can't help but think about walking away. Like I said, some of you will be walking away. It could be also walking away from a job that you've been thinking about leaving, or you know, a relationship that's had you hanging for ages and you're really kind of not knowing. Don't forget that you've grown now. Okay, you've really grown, you know, you've done the growing, and in some way you might be hesitant with the fear of change as well, because you're just so used to being in that dynamic that doesn't serve you. So whatever it is, stand your ground. If somebody comes back to you, like I said, there's going to be some communication where somebody could still be in some blaming mode, okay, and really give you a bit of the chirp going on. Okay, I can't help but see that there's a blackbird there. Oh, can you see it? I don't know if it wants to focus, but there's a blackbird there, and I can feel that you can almost hear the noise coming out of its beak. It could be two things there for me. The first one that comes to mind for me is it being really noisy and going on. On the other hand, it could also be a really, really positive message. But whatever it is for you, if it is negative, if somebody's having a go and making a lot of noise, I would stand your ground. You don't need to be rude. You don't need to do anything. You just hold your own, stay in your own center and stand your ground about anything to do with your decisions, what you know to be true, or whatever that might be. Okay, I'm just going to have a quick look before we move on. I think I pretty much covered it. Oh yeah, and okay, this is quite nice as well, because I did say about speaking our truth earlier on, about the throat chakra. So the affirmation here, it says basically not to be afraid of speaking your truth. Right? If you made a decision based on your honest feelings, stick to these decisions and do not allow outside influences to cause you to waver. So I think that really kind of says it all together. Okay, so it confirms what I said as well. So I speak my truth powerfully and lovingly, and if you need to communicate, again, come from that centered place, from the place of compassion, which is what I mentioned earlier. Okay, really hold your heart, stay in your heart and speak from, you know, imagine you've got some lips in your heart space and you're speaking from there. Okay, and it says here, I trust in my strong feelings and stand my ground in following them. Wonderful. So I think there'll be just one more card. Let's see what the major arcana also as an overall essence, okay, or guidance that we can get. Okay, these major arcana cards are I love. They're from the Thoth Aleister Crowley deck, and they can actually be used as a meditative tool as well. Look. Oh, all right. Right, I turned the fairy deck on the underside because, as you know, I'm quite typically always having to re-record. But for some of you, definitely it could be to do with a relationship as well. So there's some communication coming from somebody that you love. It could be your husband, your partner, or your wife, or whoever it is. Okay, and there's been some dispute or some misunderstanding, some conflict, or even some separation. All right, or through, you know, some distance in communication, or whatever it is. If you're in whatever communication seems to be happening, it could be happening with a person like that in your life. Again, if you know something to be true for you, just definitely stand your ground. Okay, and on the other hand, if it's not to do with that, it could also mean that somebody could be coming into your life. So those who are open to maybe rekindling a partnership, or meeting somebody new, or yeah, there's some kind of, and also this romantic partner card also could actually state that you're falling back in love with yourself. So wherever it resonates for you, you know, you only know that if it's time for you to actually stay with yourself and fall in love with yourself and put some love into your life for yourself, and do that. Some of you have actually might be doing that and already are actually ready to meet somebody, but that is in the back end, so to speak. Okay, so yeah, I feel here in some way that you're definitely going to get some clarity. I got two cards that came out in my hand, and one's to do with the moon and the hangman. All right, I feel in some way that there has been a shift of being in the dark about something and opening up to the light. All right, the hangman, while things are also suspended, I always find that the hangman actually has, now can see things, can turn things totally on its head, if you like, and see things completely different. Okay, in some way also this is very much about, I think I said this last week, some of you could be shedding a new skin, all right, and really releasing what no longer serves you, because you've kind of done your work. You've kind of like reborn, you're rebirthing yourself, and you see things much more clearly. I feel that also with this Hangman image, which is maybe the key card for me at the moment, there's a sun there. All right, we are actually also in the Leo season, so it's really important for you to be playful. So for some, add the playfulness within your creativity, which is what I've also said, that's been the message, and to allow that to come through. So the overall message for the Hangman, I'm just going to have to get my book actually, because I really quite like this deck. I have this tarot book, which I actually referenced the toss cards with, and it's by Angeles Erin. Now she's unfortunately passed in the last couple of years, a few years ago, not that long anyway, but this tarot book that actually she approaches the toss tarot completely different to the actual toss tarot book, and I much prefer it, particularly the way she says. So again, it's about breaking patterns, and surrendering, which we sort of got last week really, but this is very much about releasing the limitations of your dreams. Okay, it's about time for you to start surrendering and releasing. All right, so this is actually maybe even walking away. Like I said, the growth has happened. So again, for some of you, there's some healing. Just trust and have faith in the deep essence of who you are. All right, and surrender yourself up to God's will. So there is for sure allowing things, like I said as well, if we're walking away from certain things or walking towards certain things, we can't see everything, right? But just trust, all right? But whatever it is, I think for many, there is definitely some patterns being broken, okay? And when we move into new territory of in breaking the patterns, we don't always, we're not always familiar with how it's going to show up when we interact with other people. But trust that you have broken a pattern, that things are new, that you're shedding your skin, and whatever you can't see right now, because I've got the moon card here as well, know that it will be revealed. Okay, there could have been some secrecy around you. Let's have a quick look. Okay, actually quite interesting as well. Okay, the moon normally to do with that, but of course this book references it as being, this is so lovely, actually this is really, really great. So actually, I don't know, I put the other card down. Oh, here it is. This is very much about making choices, okay, authentic choices. Now I did talk about different opportunities coming, different doorways, right? So this is about you being really true. This card is here, the principle of choice and authenticity, okay, and dutifulness. So as I was saying before, that some of you have made choices out of duty, right? You're hiding, which is to do with the moon card, where your choices, where you're hiding in your life. Okay, this is now time to turn things on its head, start shedding the skin, and get really enlightened and clear, which a lot of you will be, and allowing your true self to be exposed and open. Okay. No more doing things out of duty, no more make choices that are true to your heart. So they're very much the two major arcana cards supporting you this week, all right? And so really consider them. If you're ever in doubt, reference your state of mind towards the fact that you are now able to make choices that are authentic to you and not out of duty to the rest of the people, the rest of the tribe, your family, clan, people, or even your coach. It doesn't matter. All right, and more importantly, it is really time that you are breaking these patterns of old and allowing for the new to enter. So I am actually going to leave the reading here. Thanks for listening. I hope it's not too long, and you got something out of it. Have a great week, and I will catch you next week. And all my details for private readings or also any kind of coaching that you might need are all below and via my website. You will find that there. Do like, share and subscribe, and do leave any comments if it's spoken to you as well. I hope this has had some resonance for you. I really appreciate any of the comments that people have. People are beginning to comment on some of these videos, and they've been very positive as well, so I really appreciate that, because it makes it all the worthwhile me doing these. I enjoy them, of course, but the intention is to be able to send on a message to those who might need to hear it, and help them along on their journey here on earth. So lots of love. Thank you very much. There's also a donation button there, so again, feel free to donate if you feel moved to donate. Other than that, I am going to end it here. So once again, see you next week, and I'll catch you then. Bye for now. Bye.